We deserve to see how far we can go in this life. Our bodies just kind of need some more resources sometimes to function more optimally. Sometimes when life is hard or painful enough, we're willing to try anything. It's just the inner child, throwing a little tantrum. And then you do the hard thing, and then you come out on the other side. Oh my gosh, it's currently golden hour in my apartment. Before I start this video, it is absolutely unbelievable what it looks like outside. Hello? Who did that? Okay, literally, how did that happen? Hello everybody, my name is Abby. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I am a small channel, so your support means the world to me. I today wanted to set an intention for us to cultivate a space of healing and decluttering our minds together. This is for those of us feeling overwhelmed, overworked, or simply underperforming, because all of these can feel exhausting, even if you're not even working that much. Here are some practices that not only help me feel less hard on myself, but actually make me feel absolutely clear. And this is extremely crucial for my pretty fast-paced lifestyle. As a med student, I need to get a lot of work done, and also here I am with YouTube. Something I've always been very passionate about is video making. So how is a person with all these dreams, including you, able to balance and actually just do one thing at a time? Some of these require an open mind, but sometimes when life is hard or painful enough, we kind of have no other choice, and we're willing to try anything. But what's nice is that when you get to that point and you're willing to try anything, that's how you break through those sort of chakras, those blockages in your flow, in your spirit. And trust me, if I can do it, you can do it too. I'm a very stubborn person, let's be so real. First and foremost, how is your breathing? Is it superficial and autopilot? Or is it deep and intentional? Those are two very different things, and you will be so surprised if you haven't tried it already, how profound of a difference it is to have deep breaths. And here, let's go into the science behind why. When you take deeper, more intentional belly breaths, so that when you breathe in, your stomach goes out, and when you breathe out, your stomach goes back in. By increasing the oxygen in your body and oxygen delivery to your organs like your brain and everything else, you are improving your focus, clarity, improved thinking, all these amazing improvements, but you're also decreasing stress, because somehow our bodies just kind of need some more resources sometimes to function more optimally. And going more deeply into the science behind it, let's talk about why people breathe into paper bags when they're really, really stressed out or having a panic attack, in movies when, like SpongeBob, for example, but also on airplanes. Those bags are not only for when someone's feeling sick, but also for actually that ventilation. When your brain is hyperactive and just by breathing in the carbon dioxide, you're actually inducing a sedation and a lightheadedness, because you're breathing again and again the same carbon dioxide with reduced oxygen delivery. So that's kind of the opposite effect, but it's just proof that it really does have a real effect on the body when you improve your oxygenation, or if you are breathing in more carbon dioxide. You are just not going to be functioning at your most optimal level with the most peace in your mind. So let's be free of our toxic buildups and just go ahead and breathe in the fresh oxygen. Use it to just plummet all of our toxins out of our lungs. Using our breath, we can let the universe guide us through each elapsing moment, which isn't even calculated in a nature scale because time is a human invention, but you get the idea. There's a lot of different techniques for breathing throughout your day, you know, at work or wherever you are. And some people prefer Wim Hof breathing. That's a guy. He has some breathing techniques. I personally like square breathing. Our nervous systems are divided. So the sympathetic nervous system is fight or flight. And that's kind of more activated when you take deep breaths in. It can kind of spike a, adrenaline response. But when you breathe out, especially when you slow it down, you are activating the rest and digest, also known as the parasympathetic nervous system. So it's a really good technique. So of course you need to breathe in order to breathe out. But what you can do is breathe in for 4 counts, hold it for 4 counts, breathe out for 4 counts, hold it for 4 counts, breathe in for 4, hold, out for 4, hold. And that is called square breathing. I really like it, and it's also very useful to prolong the breathing out part. That is how you activate your rest and digest nervous system. When I'm doing my breathing and breath work, I really like to envision expansion and imagine myself as, my cat's rubbing on the microphone. So when I'm breathing, I like to envision expansion and the universe and just realize and feel how small I truly am in the greater picture, and to just be one with nature. This is especially useful when going to sleep and you have some insomnia. If you can do some prolonged breaths out, exhalations, oh my God, it works wonders. Another little fun fact for those of you that want to sleep a little bit faster at night, because sleep is a huge factor for a clear mind, I really have this technique where you kind of focus into the nothingness. I know it sounds very vague, but stay with me. Focus into the nothingness until you start seeing those weird darker shadows your eyelids are making, and they kind of go like this, or maybe expansion like this. Or it feels like there's kind of patterns, and I don't really know exactly what that is. I've actually never been curious enough until now to look into it, so I guess I'll look into it later. But your eyelids and the darkness in your vision field start to kind of play little tricks on you and make little maybe patterns and movements. Focus on that. Focus on that, and if you are able to just be in the expansion or the closing or whatever pattern that dark movement is making without it stopping and without you thinking about something else, you will be asleep in 1 to 2 minutes. It is crazy. I've actually asked some of my friends to try this, and it's ridiculous how it kind of works every single time. I learned it when I was really desperate to go to sleep as a 3rd-year medical student, and yeah. So when I'm breathing for breath work, something I really like to envision is that we have some ickiness, some shame, darkness, whatever, inside of our body. Maybe some guilt for not finishing our tasks, maybe some shame, maybe we don't trust people and we're feeling very sad and vulnerable, whatever it might be, old identities. When you breathe in Earth's oxygen as a clean slate, imagine it just surrounding your darkness and taking pieces of it or all of it, and then exhale and imagine the darkness coming out from your soul and just expulsion into the universe. And every breath that we get to take literally is a clean slate, if you think about it. The same way people say every morning you have the privilege to wake up is a clean slate. It is so true. Like, if you really think about it, we could be stuck with the same routines and same people, but if you could magically just change your boundaries and your standards and everything like that, we could live an entirely new life. Obviously, it takes practice to actually have those abilities, but it's a really interesting thought. So never forget that every breath we take is a clean slate towards a better, more beautiful life. Another challenging moment I've experienced that I found out other people experience too, of course, because none of us can have a unique experience apparently. It's a joke, kind of. Is that some of us are afraid of our breath and our heartbeat because it reminds us of mortality. But in reality, it's there to build trust with us. We're supposed to trust it and honor it. It's a divine resource that we get to coexist with. It is not your choice to breathe, but you are anyways. It is not your choice for your heart to be beating, but it is anyways. And sometimes it's really scary because we don't know when the day will come that it's not going to be as trustworthy as usual. But you'll actually notice that the more connected you are to these resources, the longer lifespan that they'll actually have. Sometimes the anxiety can cause, palpitations and things like that. So let's love and honor our breath and heartbeat exactly for who it is, unconditionally, because it is giving us this experience of a beautiful life every single day. All of the best things that's ever happened to you, your breath and your heartbeat literally had your back. And if you think about it, it's actually so crazy. Something else I like to do is ask myself, am I listening to my inner universe more or the outer universe more in my day-to-day life? Sometimes we can be more introspective. I notice actually it's a cultural difference among different countries. Depending on which country you visit, there's different cultural trends, I guess, as to how people maneuver through the world. I noticed in Eastern Europe, people are more introspective in comparison to where I'm from in LA, California. People rely more on the external environment for their validation and emotions. And it's so interesting just how different countries promote, whether it's by accident or not, some more solitude and thoughtfulness and mind and survival. I think recently I've been very in tune with my inner universe and I'm trying to balance the outer universe. Right now I'm feeling totally okay and I'd really like to know how you're doing right now. So at this point of the video, you can feel free to type down below which voices you're listening more to. The next practice I really like is giving meditation a chance. I recently listened to my favorite YouTuber, Hitomi Mochizuki's guided meditation from a few years ago. It's about 17 minutes long. I was in the bath and I totally remember thinking, what? I don't have time for this. I have class in the morning. I have to pack my bag. I have to clean. I have to do homework. I'm behind. I can't do anything. All I want to do is sleep. 17-minute meditation? You've got to be kidding me. And I challenged myself. I thought, I really don't want to do it, but I need it. I'm in so much pain right now that I'm going to give it a try. So I gave it a try. Little did I know, this would be one of the most profound, divine, holy meditations I've experienced in a really long time. I've actually always been interested in providing guided meditations on this YouTube channel, so if that's something you're interested in, you can go ahead and ask me for them. I'm still kind of incubating that part of me right now, but yeah, I just wanted to share that intention I have, that prayer, that wish. It's so funny, just that naive, childish thought that all of us will have when we're like, no, I don't want to do it. I'm tired. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. And then it's just the inner child, throwing a little tantrum. And then you do the hard thing. And then you come out on the other side. Meditation is especially challenging for those of us that are super focused on silencing our mind. Silence! Silence, because I hate you! With pitchforks, imagine. Rah! Silence! We're going to hang it in the middle of the city and stone it and publicly humiliate the death of a soul. Sometimes we want to get rid of the things that challenge us the most. When in reality, meditation's about maybe not embracing, but observing, feeling, watching how it evolves when you give it space to exist. And it's funny, meditation for me, I'll try to create a little example. I'll think about all my to-do lists. I'll think about all these ways that someone did me wrong. I'll think about all these ways that I'm behind in university. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that apple I had earlier today was pretty good. Oh, right, I'm meditating. Yeah, okay. My cats, I need to get them food. Their food's running out. And then there's silence in between each one of those thoughts. more and more silence, to the point where it literally feels like I'm pure light consciousness, like literally just gleaming light. And I feel so good. It takes a lot of practice to get there, but what really helps is visualizing where you want to be. And that's why I'm going to link down below Hitomi Mochizuki's guided meditation that I used. It ends with some chanting in Sanskrit. You do not have to do all of it, but I do recommend trying as much as you can. It really changed my perspective also on chanting, because I used to go to some yoga classes with chant meditations in Sanskrit, and I didn't really like it because I didn't understand what was going on because the rest of the class was taught in Russian. So yeah, I highly recommend doing that, and tell me if you like it. Once again, meditation is observation of the mind and the soul and seeing how things fluctuate, change, relax, progress. It's observation and honestly kind of data collection, seeing where you're at in that current day, that current moment, and actually giving your mind the opportunity to resolve through its chemicals and cognitive thinking actually will heal you. Overall, it's like a bird's eye view, a third person perspective on what's going on the inside. It's so funny because the point of meditation where most of us actually give up is that exact very last barrier that if you were to stay there, just sit there, linger, I guess, feel it, exist, just be through that hardship, you will overcome probably the last barrier before your meditation becomes extremely profound. Maybe that obstacle is your ego. Maybe you have this identity or this idea that maybe you are too messed up or effed up of a person to be fixed by some simple meditation. I'm just too complex. I'm too messed up to the core. Life did me dirty in ways nobody would understand. My experience is unique. No one's ever experienced what I've experienced and come out of it to the other side. That's ego. Ego is when we think we're so special, but in a negative way. Sometimes the obstacle is drama, and whatever it might be, keep on sitting there, keep on meditating, try to circle back to the intentions you have for the meditation, and you will be so surprised as to what will happen next. One of my favorite teachings in Buddhism is to just be. Because this is what we have in common with nature, and we can so easily forget it in our human experience. Being a part of nature is who we've been all along. The ability to just be. To be imperfect is to be perfect. And we like to make this human experience so much harder for ourselves than it needs to be, but we deserve to just exist, free of the cage that our mind and society has created for us. What made Hitomi's meditation so special, she learned it, she went to lots of yoga teacher trainings in both India and Bali, but what made it so special was the focus on being pure consciousness, of being pure in general, being love, and who we really are underneath all of the human drama. Coming out of this meditation made me feel like damn near a different person. This totally physically cleaned my mind, and I actually came out of it feeling like a child, innocent, pure, free, just love consciousness. After that, I actually ended up cleaning my apartment. I cleaned my kitchen and my dishes. I packed my bag for the next day, got my outfit ready. And there was so much less resistance because I actually took time to just, declutter what's on the inside. I think I'm gonna practice meditation more often again. I used to do it more, but I don't know, life is very dynamic. It changes all the time. So I have some usual obstacles that make me extra stubborn to self-care and getting my work done. So I know that with meditation and yoga, it's what really helps me the most. The next one I want to talk about is rebuilding self-trust with yourself. This requires literally writing a list or in your head, but ideally maybe in a planner or your notes app, your priorities. What are your most important priorities in life? The things that if you do them, you will live guilt-free. And if you do them, you will be most fulfilled. We have different energy levels throughout the day, and it's very, very important to figure out what exactly they are. Even if you don't have a totally stable routine, you can try to stabilize it so you can see at which times you have more energy. Usually after a meal, you kind of decrease in some energy, maybe for 30 minutes to an hour while you digest your food, because the blood flow in your body gets directed to your stomach and intestines. And then after that, that's when more blood flow goes to your brain. Also, the way that coffee works and nootropics, which are supplements, they increase oxygen delivery and blood flow to your brain. Coffee also works on some other receptors that I am not going to bore you with right now, the adenosine receptors, but they basically prevent you from getting tired. I'm not saying to rely on substances alone, but if you do have some self-control, then they can enhance your experience, but they do come at a cost. Caffeine has crashes, and in general, you're just creating more oxidation in your body. So the more natural you go, the more longevity you will have with less recovery time. Something very important to keep in mind is that doing nothing also spends energy. Imagine being unemployed and you kind of sit around all day and you're not really doing much. Maybe it's the weekend and you find yourself tired at the end of the day. Why? Because no matter what, our batteries are going to be used. So we can optimize our batteries. We can charge it and spend it in ways that make the batteries more worthwhile. Charging it would be like breath work, meditation, yada yada, but also with the food you eat, the quality of the food, the quality and the amount of sleep you're getting. For me, I've just come to terms with it. I'm an 8-hour-a-night girl. Like, I cannot have less than 8 hours without having severe sleep debt. And I need to catch up if I get like even 7 hours a day. I just feel like crap, honestly. Overall, throughout the day, your body is naturally going to use energy. And why? It's because we're humans, we're animals. It's getting used in our organs when we eat food, when we walk, when we think. It's all being used, so we can actually make better use of our time if you want to go after a more successful and fruitful path. When it comes to nutrition, it's very, very important to have it personalized to your body. Some of us cannot handle as much sugar, and sometimes we see other people intaking more sugar than us, and they're completely fine. And for us, maybe we kind of get that, glucose spike and crash, and we feel tired after. So it really is important to see what works for you and experiment. And every day is a new day. Just try to make the best possible decisions you can, but not out of force, but instead out of what feels best to exist in your body. For example, sometimes when people actually intake more sugar, it could be for a lot of reasons. Basically, bacteria, cancer, and parasites. Very commonly, people have parasites, and it's very, very, very important to do anti-parasite cleanses at least once every 6 months to a year. But yeah, parasitic activities in your body, whether it's parasites, cancer, bacteria, etc., they consume sugar. So if you're actually eating a lot of sugar, it could be not only just a tolerance in your body, but you might be on the path towards diabetes, but it could also be something is actually leaching off of your natural energy systems, and it would be very good to maybe get a little checkup with your doctor, get a little scary blood test, and check and see where you're at health-wise. Because by doing that and by fixing whatever is leaching off of you, you could be literally so much more energized in ways that you completely forgot about, or maybe you thought you were aging when in reality you just needed to do a little quick fix with your doctor. I actually struggled for the first 2 months of 2026 with parasites. It was absolutely terrible. My brain was empty. People could ask me for things I know very well, like my middle name, and I would have to think about it. I would literally have to think about it. I used to smoke green in the past, and I swear I was thinking faster back then. Even when I would fry myself, I was still thinking faster in those really, really bad states that I used to put myself in than I was with parasites, or equal. The parasites really sucked. I tried 2 different medication courses. I finally got rid of them, and oh my God, to this day, I'm a little traumatized. It's been only like a few weeks, I think, without them, and I still am not convinced they're totally gone, but I noticed that I've been able to make YouTube videos again, which is my passion, and I think that that's a good sign that I'm on the right track. So yeah, basically go and get yourself checked out by a doctor. Some of us, like me, are afraid of needles, but in reality, you're actually setting yourself up for success. It's funny, I'm scared of needles in myself because it feels oddly personal, but when it comes to patients, I can actually watch it. I don't know what it is. I think just that little pinch. I've also gotten 2 small tattoos before. I have another one in the books, I think. I want to get more in the future, small ones. But it's just so funny. Like, I'm not scared of tattoo needles, but actual needles puncturing your skin is really scary for me. I'm less afraid of shots than blood draw. I think it's an OCD thing, but a major life hack for either one that you have to get is to put on actually headphones and to play some distracting, or for me, calming music. And that really helps the situation a lot. Also, it's very important to remember to rest before your body demands it, because your body will. And that's why these breath work and meditation techniques are so important, because it gives your body a reminder and a time to notice how badly you are in need of rest, and maybe even give yourself some. I noticed that even though I was sleep deprived, I somehow felt more energized, more maybe rested. I'm not sure, but it really made a huge difference in my life. And it's so easy to use that 17 or even more, like 30, 45 minutes, just doom scrolling without wanting to. So I actually deleted my apps on my phone, like Instagram and everything. I have it on my iPad that I use for school, because it is absolutely not the same to check notifications. Oh, well, they're already off, but go on the app and check my stuff on an iPad. It's just, the dopamine is not dopamining. When it comes to optimal energy levels, I notice my first one is about maybe 2 hours after I wake up, another one is about an hour after lunch, and then another one's like an hour after dinner until I start to get sleepy. So I notice it's like after I eat, I start to feel good. And I also do intake caffeine, usually in the form of green tea. Today I did have a coffee and black tea, which really hits, but I'm getting ready for that crash tonight. But when I'm in my optimal energy of the day, I notice that the tasks that I can do only in that time involve studying, editing videos, reading sometimes, reading hit or miss, and overall just working on your craft. When I'm in my lower energy phases, I can get away with doing dishes when I'm feeling messed up. The initiation aspect is very, very hard, but after you just start something, and I always trick myself, I tell myself, I'm just washing 3 dishes, and I end up washing them all every single time. Sometimes, I think there was once where I did only wash half of them. I told myself, there's so many dishes and I desperately need sleep, but tomorrow I'm gonna hate myself. Like, I don't know what to do. And okay, I'm gonna wash half. And I thought that would trick me into washing them all. But after half, I was winded. I just needed to go to sleep. And actually, it helped. The next day, I had a lighter load. So yeah, things like laundry, dishes, busy work, maybe you're decorating something. A lot of this can be done with lower energy levels, whereas, more cognitive thinking, when you're paving those neuronal pathways in your brain, that for me requires my optimal energy. I also have this habit where I spend 5 or 10 minutes every morning and every night, usually like right before class, it'll be 5 minutes, and right before bed, I spend like 5 to 10 minutes. I don't even count the time, it just feels very quick, or I randomly say 3, 2, 1, go. And I start decluttering. I take all the clothes off the floor. I start out by actually putting things in my bathtub that are dirty, or my hamper. 3, 2, 1, go. And I go and declutter my apartment. I do a few little tasks, and this is not washing dishes. This is not those different, tasks. It's simply just picking things up off the floor, because I'm a messy girl. I like to use my space in the most extravagant way possible. I try on clothes, drop it on the floor. I have like shoes laying around, so I go and basically like running for 5 to 10 minutes, and I put shoes back, I put clothes in the hamper, I make the bed. I do things very fast that I can do with my hands that aren't overstimulating, like washing dishes, because your hands get wet. And it actually really helps. It's crazy. It's like working smarter rather than harder, because when you give yourself only 5 minutes to clean, you're actually going so fast and you're getting so much more done. All of this being said, maybe you're starting to notice that you need a new way of life. And I undergo this feeling all the time. I always feel like I need to change my life. And it's actually good to want to implement new skills and behaviors into your life. There's something called neuroplasticity. This simply just means the ability to learn new things. It can range anywhere from a skill to changing your behavioral patterns and reactions to, for example, hardship. This is why manifestation is actually proven to be physically, scientifically true, because the more we embody and play the part and talk the talk, walk the walk, the more we become exactly what it is that we are practicing. So in this way, we can make bad habits more or good habits more prominent in our lives. I don't know if you've ever seen it before, a lot of us have, but our neurons just connect in so many different ways, like a constellation in the sky, like stars and constellations in the sky, and they make new synapses, they make new connections. And the reason why we can forget old abilities and skills and information that we learned in the past is because there's something, let's say these are 2 of your brain cells communicating, and this is a memory, okay? This is literally a memory or a skill. There's something called pruning. Imagine a prune, like a plum, right? It gets shriveled. So pruning is when the neuronal connection literally shrivels up and dies. And so we can actually lose our abilities. And people who go to the gym or, need to build the muscle of their brain, there's something people like these like to say, and it's use it or lose it. And it's absolutely true. It doesn't matter in which regard. If you don't use your information or your muscles, because it's also neuronal pathways, there's something called muscle memory. Yeah, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. Like actually, you can fully lose it. And it's so interesting building new neuronal connections in the gym. Like there could be muscles you've never actually flexed before, like your triceps. And it's so crazy because you can't even flex them until you start working them out. And then you build the muscle memory, and then you can kind of like flex them on command. It's really, really interesting. If you'd like to dive deep into the science, the neuroscience behind neuronal connections and memory, and literally the science behind changing your life, I highly recommend going to Jay Shetty's podcast. He has a podcast with the guest Joe Dispenza. He's a neuroscientist and he talks all about it. And I never felt more empowered in my life. I realized anything is possible. You can manifest anything. So check it out. Thank me later. All right, the next thing I'd like to do is, maybe you've heard of the gold and silver medalist from the Winter Olympics, Eileen Gu. She's about 22 years old, 23, and she is a skier. She got really famous for this one clip. I'm going to go ahead and play it. I love what she talks about in regards to neuroplasticity.
Do you think before you speak? Because you answer questions so quickly and so comprehensively, whether it's about geopolitics or your sport or aerodynamics. Like, can you take us into your brain?
Thank you, Charlotte. That's very kind. Oh, man. Do I think? I think overall, I'm just a pensive person. Like, I'm an introspective young woman. Like, I spend a lot of time in my head, and it's not a bad place to be. I journal a lot. I break down all of my thought processes. I think I apply a very analytical lens to my own thinking, and I kind of modify it because it's so interesting. You can control what you think. Like, you can control how you think, and therefore you can control who you are. And especially as a young person, like I'm 22, so with neuroplasticity on my side, I can literally become exactly who I want to be. How cool is that? Like, how empowering is that, right? And so the fact is, I get to become every day the kind of person that me at age 8 would revere. Like, I would be obsessed with me today. Are you kidding? I would love me. And I think that's the biggest flex of all time, that you can have like little younger you be proud of you today. And so I guess for me, it's like, yes, I spend a lot of time in my own head. Yes, I think a lot, but it's not really like in an egotistical kind of way. It's in like a tinkering, like a scientist kind of way. I'm always like trying to modify. I'm trying to think, how can I be better? How can I approach my own brain the way that I approach my craft of free skiing, so that I can be better tomorrow than I was today?
I'm absolutely obsessed with her. She should be on this podcast here with me today. Just kidding. She's way too cool for me. If I'm moving around a lot and changing up my hat situation a lot, I have some ADHD, so just work with me here. But yeah, in regards to neuroplasticity and paving that path from one neuron to another, that ability, that task, that intelligence, the more you think about something, the more you think about something in a more evolved way, the more you think about it in general and do the task, think about the thing you want to memorize, the deeper you're paving that path from one neuron to the next. So going off of that same point, by doing a hard task the first time, it's going to be really hard. But the 5th time, it's going to be easier. And the 20th time, it's going to be almost a piece of cake. You know, some resistance, but a lot easier than that 5th time, right? And then the 100th time, piece of cake. It's okay if the results aren't exactly what you want, but you can't forget the fact that you're putting more steps forward than backwards by staying consistent. Regardless of your day-to-day results, don't give up on your passions and goals simply because you're lacking discipline. It's okay to lose self-trust sometimes. It's completely normal, actually. But what matters is if you don't let that tear you down and don't have that all or nothing mindset, and then you can get right back where you left off. This is exactly where I'm at right now when it comes to studying for my medical boards. I keep thinking, no, I'm done. I'm literally done. I can't do this anymore. And then I find myself coming right back within a matter of a few days, or less. Ideally, it would be better to take less time off from this huge project, but sometimes if I do end up taking those few days off unwillingly, what matters most is if I come back. In the end, regardless of your results, you are taking steps forward. Something I'm learning right now that I really just feel like source and universe is just speaking through me because I'm currently going through this, is that lacking trust and that shame in yourself, that guilt, it's not a permanent place to be, especially if you continue to take action and don't give up. Regardless of how fast other people are doing it, some of us just need a little more time to breathe. Something that really helps in this case is accountability from a little help from your friends. If you have any colleagues, friends, acquaintances, people, somehow, any type of community, you can even find, a library or a cafe with other people working there with a little study culture or whatever it is that you are trying to achieve. If you can find some level of community, some level and a feeling, a sense of community. If you're with your friends, you guys might need to bring headphones to prevent from talking to each other all the time. And this has actually worked for me. I'm a very talkative person, and without the headphones, I am going to chatter away. But with the headphones on, I can totally lock in. And then sometimes the headphones come off and I say something that's been on my mind and I'm worried I'm going to forget it. Don't forget to work with people sometimes, as well as just learning how to work by yourself, so that we're not totally relying and putting all of our eggs in one basket, so that we can have backup plans. I like to know how to work in groups as well as in solitude, because sometimes I do really need a sense of community after being in solitude for a long enough period of time, and vice versa. Also, while stress can keep us either on track or bring us back on track, I actually noticed that it can turn into overwhelm. And when I'm overwhelmed and actually truly stressed on another level, I lose my lust for life. My purpose starts to dissipate in the air, because then survival is starting to get turned on. It's like, what's the point of this path I'm on if I don't even want to live? I know it sounds very intense, but I've always been a very intensely minded person. I think especially right now in my age group with so much access to the internet, and I think it also just extends to basically any generation that's taking in a high consumption of the internet right now. I notice that just the more we're online, we're exposed to more negative mental health from other people, and unfortunately we like to think we're some immortal, strong, not impressionable people, but in reality we are. And it really is important to include what you are watching as part of your diet. And sometimes you're going to scroll and see something you didn't need to see for the purpose of protecting your peace, and then you can just swipe out and recognize that, and then it's not going to penetrate your mind as deeply as it would have if you were to have continued scrolling. It actually works, and you should give it a try. I don't like the feeling of being hard on myself. Overwhelm and being hard on myself totally just dissipates my purpose and totally steers me away from my purpose and honestly the desire to live another day. So when you get overwhelmed next time, it's extremely important to focus solely on self-care and planning your life instead of actually thinking that you're going to take those actions. I sometimes will actually reserve certain days or periods of a day to not studying, because when I tell myself I should be studying 24/7, like every hour of every day I should be studying, but I'm just not, oh my God, that guilt is crazy. That guilt is absolutely crazy. In the times that you're overwhelmed, you need to actually tell yourself, no, I'm not working. I'm not studying. I'm not doing the things that are stressing me out right now. I am hiring a babysitter for kids or for pets. I am gonna just do the things I need to do to get myself to rest right now. Get an early night. You can buy calming vitamins with things like ashwagandha, or, the ingredients of sleepy teas like chamomile and all those other ingredients that help you sleep. You can actually take those in capsule form in higher concentrations. The one that I really, really like to use is called Tension Ease. My mom, who's a neurologist, she put me onto this. I kind of thought it was placebo at first, and my sister, I think she still thinks it's placebo, but in reality, it's actually all of the calming tea ingredients plus ashwagandha. And I used to take it before classes for med school because I was extremely anxious, but now I actually take it to go to sleep, and that can just kind of illustrate for you the differences in my nervous system. It's really interesting. Like, I used to be so anxious that I needed it to calm down, but now when I go through my day, I actually need it to go to sleep, which would not have worked on me a few years ago. So never stop seeking and building your personal balance. Life is ultimately up to you to figure out, and together we can give each other ideas. My comment section is completely more than open. I'm a small channel, so I'm probably not getting any comments, but my comment section is more than open to your ideas and things that work for you. Something maybe you liked or didn't like from what I said today, you can kindly let me know in the comments down below. And never be afraid to start anew, to start again. Every single day is a clean slate, every breath. Infinity is the pattern of the universe. So the opportunities and our ideas and everything, our neuronal connections, everything is endless and infinite. So there's literally no reason to actually give up. When you feel like you need to give up, most likely you just need some better nutrients, better sleep, more rest. Maybe you have some parasitic processes happening in your body at the moment, and that's just a time to focus on your health. But as long as we live, we are infinite beings. We are spiritual beings living a human experience. Charge your batteries, rest, be intentional with how you're spending your energy. Set those boundaries that you've been needing to set with yourself, like on your phone. There's apps to restrict, screen time. I personally delete Instagram off of my phone and TikTok. I don't have it. And boundaries with other people that are taking up a lot of your mental energy. I don't actually talk as much to people anymore. I tell them I have to go a lot faster, even when I want to have a conversation with them. But it's because I'm prioritizing my peace. I'm prioritizing my peace and my energy for my craft over their validation and a meaningless conversation that could drain my energy. And sometimes we need to disconnect a little bit in order to connect more deeply in the future. So it's all about finding your balance, and it's okay to swing the pendulum a little too far to the left or to the right. It's good to learn how to be productive in group settings as well as in solitude, and learning how to be in solitude without getting super lonely. Usually getting lonely is a reflection of some mental health changes going on. We only live once, so see how much you can achieve and how good you can feel throughout life. See how much you can accomplish and fulfill yourself, and maybe take life a little less seriously for that rest. And then you can charge yourself and become absolutely unstoppable. We deserve to see how far we can go in this life while we still can, while we're still here. Thank you so much for watching today's video. The pleasure was mine to be making this. I am so thankful for everybody who made it to the end of this video. I went ahead and did a prayer and manifestation that everybody who made it to the end of this video is going to be absolutely blessed with rest and digest, happiness and prosperity. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.